In case you can raise question, and I shall try to understand and finally react. Okay. Within 3 minutes, we shall have the lecture on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We will begin sharp at 4:15. By the time, in case you want to have any question in the chat box, please shoot your question. Manoj ji, can you focus your question further? Manoj ji.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes, no, please write your question.
Yes, sir. नेशनल हायर एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क के बारे में ही जानना था सर.
नहीं, क्या जानना चाहते हैं उसमें? That you can go to the national qualification. You go to their website.
Yes, sir. I can go, sir. I can go, but in short, if you can give any sir key.
No. See, I am here to tell you about the theoretical framework of education in society.
Ji, sir. Okay, sir. No issue, sir.
Any theoretical question.
Ji, okay.
Modus operandi I am not going to touch upon.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Shall we begin now? Because I have given 16:15, now it is 16:16. So, my dear friends, I welcome you to this. This is an initiative of NEP 2020. And I'm sure some of you must have gone through the the act that has been passed by our parliament. How many of you have gone through it? Please tell me what is there in what they call as the something related to let me frame the question properly so that in case you have something to say, you'll be able to say us. The foundational scheme for this education policy. If you go to the website of the Government of India, then they will be telling you about the 5 guiding factors. Can anybody react? What are they? Five guiding factors. They don't call it factor, rather they are calling it as pillars. Please write in the chat box. 5 pillars. The site reads in the following way. The NEP 2020 is founded on the 5 guiding pillars. I am asking a question. What are they? This is from the Ministry of Education GOI website.
Sir, may I?
Yes, please write in the chat box so that others can see. It should not be yours. It should be from the GOI. There is a Sachin Kumar ji. Sachin Kumar ji has got me the correct. Access, equity, quality, affordability. Yes. Dilip ji also has, Dipti. Dipti has also done the great job. Then we shall theoretically try to, yes, thank you, Sharma ji, thank you. Now I'm going to tell you something about meaning of quality, affordability and accountability only. What is meaning of accountability? I'm going to tell you. In higher education system in particular. So what is the problem? Okay, and what is the suggestion? Okay, that's perfectly fine from my side. Sorry, there was some office call, so I just gave them the instructions. Right. Now let us try to understand this affordability, quality, and accountability. What is your opinion about accountability? Should we be accountable to the funding agency? Is that question crisp or not? I'm asking a question. Should we be accountable to the funding agency? For example, if there is a private institution, some private fellow is paying us the salary. Dinesh ji, what led you to conclude it? What is the theoretical basis that you have considered so quickly?
You must be accountable what paying the government to us, sir.
Sorry?
We must be accountable what the fund government has to provide. For that we have to.
I'm asking first the private.
Definitely, sir. That should be some regulations are there. We have to implement.
What is that regulation for higher education?
No, I am not detailed in going to that, sir. But what my idea to basic concept regarding that, we should be accountable, sir.
Yes, that is correct. Right. We should be accountable. And how about affordability? Inclusive education, for example. So I am trying to understand, should any outsider, however mighty he or she may be, has the right to interfere? So I have seen that one of the participants is the principal. So I'm trying to construct one example from the Yashpal committee report. Not construct, it is given in the Yashpal committee report. And that report begins with a beautiful quote from Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore. He has the following to offer. He says, while he was a child, that is Tagore, while he was a child, he was playing with his friends. When he was playing with his friends, it was a classroom, right? And everybody was trying to make some kind of playing tools together. You remember that we used to make we take one page and finally make one aeroplane. Making aeroplane was a collective pleasure. And we are learning from each other. He recounts that one day a rich man interferes through his son or daughter. How he interferes? He's an outside agency, not part of education system, not part of that kid interaction. He has given a very, very costly toy to his son or daughter. So the center of attraction got diverted and everybody started seeing, and the no participation in the process of making that toy. The argument is that classroom is not about individual money. It is all about getting the collective pleasure. It is through activities. And we as teachers, we have to remember how to involve our students in collective excellence. They should work together, not the individual excellence, but the collective. The place itself grows in the scheme of things. Now, I come back and construct another example with the help of Ruskin Bond. How does it matter to you that a kid knows the name of a bird? It is more important, according to me, that he or she appreciates the melody of chirping of the birds. He enjoys seeing the color of the bird. Right? So, in case he doesn't know the name, but enjoys the qualitative sense of melody, qualitative sense of beautiful color, just you get me 1 minute time. Yes? Bolo. No, you don't have to worry. Simply ignore. No, you ignore. So, this the qualitative sense is very important in education system. And it is not through quantification you grow, but the qualitative appreciation of a process, of a thing, and many things. So how do you see a bird? How do you see a bird is the next question that we have to ask ourselves. How can children see the birds? By looking the world outside his classroom. So some of the educationists, the top educationists of the world, they always make a statement that all education system must be like a window. And what is job of a window? From the room, you should be able to see outside. And in case you close the window, that means the expansion of knowledge is not there. There is a confinement of knowledge. Right? The confinement of knowledge means you are unable to grow from within. Expansion of knowledge means you are able to grow. And this growth is very, very important, my dear friend. This is the thing that we must remember. And hence the conclusion is we should emphasize on the expansion of knowledge, and we should not permit any outsider to interfere into the business of our teaching process. Is this only that I am saying? That's the next question. Or many people have already said it. Yes, many people have said it, and I shall make a theoretical proposition also. But before that, let me try to tell you something from some of the committee report. Okay, so one of them is the Radhakrishnan report. Right? The first, just after freedom, Radhakrishnan has the following to contribute to the examples that I have cited from the Jaspal committee and the Ruskin Bond. I shall be grateful to all of you if you could see my point, so that we all grow from within, and answer the people that your meaning of accountability and the academic accountability are altogether different. And this is what Radhakrishnan has said. In 1949, Radhakrishnan Committee reports assets as the central theme of education in the following words, within quote, higher education is undoubtedly an obligation of the state, no private interference, it is saying. But this is 1949. But state aid, if the state is giving financial aid, is not to be confused with the state control over academic policies and practices. That's why I'm saying that accountability has to be there, but the accountability has to be defined by the academic institution. It says intellectual progress. Now, this is the most profound statement. Do you want academic institution to have intellectual progress and intellectual excellence? If you want, then it says intellectual progress demands the maintenance of the spirit of free inquiry. And how can there be a free inquiry if some outside agency is trying to tell me that you have to do research on this or you have to teach this? This is nonsense. And Radhakrishnan, remember, he was a great student of philosophy. He had been the vice chancellor of Banaras Hindu University. He rose to the level of the president of India. And all these things are very important. But apart from that, he was a great teacher. Okay? Some of the voices we have the pleasure of listening on the campus on the Teachers' Day, that is 5th of September, always. So it says, the progress demands the maintenance of the spirit of free inquiry, the pursuit and practice of truth. Another. Recall Mahatma Gandhi. How can you teach truth? For pursuing truth, for investigating the truth, for making a truthful investigation in a problem, you need to be fearless. Right? So it says, the pursuit and practice of truth, regardless of consequences, has been the ambition of the universities. All higher education must, and according to me, all education system must have this in mind. Otherwise, intellectual progress will not take place at all. Now, you come to another very, very distinguished scientist who wrote 1966 report of education. He has similar statement. You recall, higher education is undoubtedly an obligation of the state. Just now I quoted you now, Radhakrishnan. Now D.S. Kothari is saying that the state's obligation to fund education. You are in 66. The state's obligation to fund education, but not interfere with its day-to-day functioning. It keeps reminding us that accountability has to be fixed up in an academic atmosphere. It cannot be an administrative job, right? Because it talks of the quality. See, in the 5 pillars, it talks of quality. And the quality means excellence in education. And for excellence, you should be able to investigate the truth. You should be able to profess the truth without fear. Chitta jata bhaishun, as Rabindranath Tagore has famously said, where the mind is free and the head is held high. Only then the knowledge will flow. And knowledge must flow. It cannot be made stagnant. If it is stagnant, then there is no growth of the discipline. Now, is it only the academics have said it? That is man like Radhakrishnan or man like D.S. Kothari? If politicians have also said it, in this connection, one of the relevant thing that I often quote in such lectures refers to Tarachand in Raj Sabha. What does the Tarachand 1965 said in the Raj Sabha? Exclusive control of education by the state has been an important factor facilitating the maintenance of totalitarian tyrannies. Why? Because this 66 is not very far away from what has happened in Germany. In particular, that example we are going to cite, that's why I'm emphasizing Germany. We must resist, in the case of our own democracy, the trend towards the governmental domination of the educational process. It doesn't talk of this government or that government. On a theoretical basis, the best people, knowledgeable about the education per se, they are of the opinion that no, you cannot do it. We have to finalize. We have to excel together. Therefore, we must make our own mind. And in case you are unable to do very good research, you are unable to teach in an innovative way, that means you are trying to be playing in the hands of somebody else. And the moment there is somebody else, you will not be able to grow in the discipline. And your peer group will simply delete you. And why this statement of ours is so crucial? The statement of ours is so crucial because for school education to be good, the claim is that you must have good universities. Only good universities can produce good graduates. And those good graduates are the resource for school education. Now, and if you de-emphasize school education, you have another problem. Because after 10+2, students are coming to university system. If they are coming to university system after the school, then they should be sufficiently good to question professors, to force the professor that you read more. And how can that be possible if they have seen textbooks? If they have seen textbooks like a window. Is that argument clear? Because if textbook becomes a window, then it will permit the students at the school level to go to more books. And until this is there, that means the curriculum at the school level is not up to mark. And this is what Professor Jaspal used to say, ज्ञान को सीखने और सिखाने का चस्का लगा दीजिए. That means you just simply have to motivate children to read and learn. And nothing else is required. The moment in the formative years, if they start learning more, looking for very good books, your job is done, I can tell you. Based on my 40 years of the teaching experience, I can vouch for this statement. I have very less exposure to school education, but I am able to see it theoretically that for good school education, you require good teachers, and the good teachers are good graduates, and good graduates are produced only in the good university. So my dear friend, we are at a place where we are supposed to be telling what is meaning of good university. Is this following logically? Some of you should react so that I move forward. I have given you a foundation that in case the school education has to be all right, then their teachers has to be all right. And the teachers are graduate and they have to be produced in the university system. If they are being produced at the university system, then the university has to be good. So now we have to understand what is meaning of university. And this is how the university education system is connected to the society. You must have the finer appreciation of the children background, right? The diversity, the plurality. We are a plural society. Great diversity. And those diversity must be appreciated by teachers like us from within. Nobody should come and say that, have you seen the diversity? No, this is not the thing. You are supposed to be feeling it from within. As a citizen of this country, the plural nature of the society must be appreciated. Then the plural thought will follow. See, one of the policy statement in the NEP says that we are supposed to be promoting Indian ethos. Are you able to see that line in the same document where we have noted down the 5 pillars? Theek uske pehle, the government of India policy statement from Ministry of Education is saying that we should be able to nourish Indian ethos. And what is the Indian ethos? In this subcontinent, theism and atheism both coexisted together. Diametrically opposite, my dear friend. I believe in God and you don't believe in God, and there is a fierce debate. So, we are not expert about the philosophical implication of the theism and atheism, but it suffices to understand that there was a strong tradition of debate, right? And the two opposite thought can be in front of each other, arguing for hours together, months together, and years together. What a great tradition it was. That's why I'm saying, usko gyan सीखने का चस्का लगा दीजिए. Just you give them sufficient background so that they are interested in good books. Nothing more is required. After that, the children will go and find out the best book. Even if 5 students in your class are able to do that, I can tell you the entire generation will change after some time. This is what my conviction is. Now I assert, okay, without any concrete theoretical background, that with respect to time, the socio-political changes must be taking place. If the socio-political changes are taking place, does it mean that the concept of excellence in the higher education has also changed? Is that question clear? देखिए फिर से देखिए. Little bit of Hindi I'll be using, but I will try to translate it in English. I am arguing that if you are saying there is a socio-political change, right, then does it mean that the notion of excellence has also changed? Is that argument clear? I'm saying if excellence is all about expansion of knowledge based on debate and discussion with external agency not interfering with our business, then the academic institution will have its own vitality. ये theorization, ये स्थापना अगर मैंने आपको समझा दिया तो मैं बहुत खुश होऊंगा. What I'm saying is that if this theoretical proposition of education system per se and higher education in particular that I am aware of little bit because of my connection with higher education, that the concept of excellence is the inner strength of any higher education system, and that must be true even for the education system. That's why still we remember our school teachers, right? How that gentleman or how that lady was trying to construct the best example so that he or she forces us to understand. It's a great. What for? What for? He or she wanted their students to be of different quality. If this is the motivational factor, then we will grow from within. And in case you grow from within and you simply facilitate the process of expansion of knowledge in your pupil, in your students, by forcing them to see outside that other than the textbook, there are many other learning that are available, right? The textbook is not a great book. Textbook becomes great only when it permits you to read more. So the best definition of the textbook at any level should be that it should be able to force you to read more other than the textbook. You read textbook and the textbook creates enough interest that in some of the topic you are interested in. And it has generated sufficient curiosity. It has generated sufficient curiosity to learn more. And it is the inherent quality of the mankind, as Kant has said, dare to understand. Why the thirst of knowledge is never quenched? Because you are trying to understand everything, right? And the world is very large. It goes beyond our perception, beyond our physical perception. There are emotional perception, right? Those of us who are practicing literature, they will be able to say this better. Those of us who are trying to work on the philosophy of life, those of us who are trying to work on the existentialism, they will also tell you the best. I'm not the person to tell you that. I can only give you how to nourish excellence. And the nourishment of excellence is a must. And it is the excellence that gives you the vitality. Not by you, I mean the institution where you are working. And in case, if it finishes from within, one thing, because it comes to my mind. Whenever I talk of excellence, we are mistaken in saying, I'm saying is specialization. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not at all saying that. Specialization is a specialized skill. Excellence is independent of these skills. And this is going to be the last part of my talk, where I am going to tell you that how it becomes independent, how it becomes different from skills, not independent. How it becomes different from skills. Please remind me in case I forget. And it is through this learning that you'll be able to see the society. And you see a direct connection of the education with the society. One connection I've already told you. What was that? In case you want good school, You want good teacher in the school, and the good teachers are produced in good university, so good university must be defined. ये logically follow किया कि नहीं? Somebody should react in the chat box, otherwise I'll understand that I'm not at all trying to communicate anything. Please write in the chat box. Is it logically following? Yes. Now, I got a response. That means some of us are trying to understand what is being said. Then let me see the notes. Anything more to this? Yes. Permit me to make this very, very small observation. Why excellence is very important? Because excellence follows 1 by n square rule. And what is this 1 by n square rule? This function gives you value of 1 only when n is equal to 1. Most of the people in the world, they believe that until you have the number 1 person, a man of great excellence, at the top of an academic institution, it will be difficult for the education system to survive. So you just put in that function n equal to 2. That means a second-rate person, if he is the head of the academic institution, he is going to recruit only 4th rate. And I'm convinced, and you all will be convinced, it's a matter of time that you are little bit open and see the society, why people started losing faith in us. Despite the tall claim that we are the seeker of truth. Society has to be convinced that we are seeker of truth in the true sense of the term. And we don't propagate false statement. If something is not logically following, then why should I tell? I should not be telling. If it is trying to follow, a logical sequence, then only it has got a meaning. And we shall try to follow one of the wonderful book that I'll be mostly telling my participants to go through. The idea, I'm writing in the chat box, the idea of the university. Anybody in the students from the philosophy? Anybody in the audience from the philosophy or medicine? So I request you just to go through in your mobile, in case you are not online, with the help of your mobile, just to write the idea of the university by Jaspers. Do you see the book? It is freely downloadable. You are supposed to tell me the edition. Year of publication. Yes. And yes, Jadhav, can you tell me, Sachin Kumarji, that what is the thickness of that book? How many number of pages by the timing? Please write in the chat box so that we can move ahead. Do you have internet connection or not in your mobile? Then only you'll be able to tell me. I think not a very thick book. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a part of the description. Ekdam sahi. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you very much. Yes. And I request all of you, whenever you have the time, please go through some of the pages of this. You will be a different teacher in the classroom. I can tell you, for the last 1 decade, I'm trying to follow this, and I'm trying to grow from within. But you may laugh that what, you're going to retire next year and yet you want to grow. Yes, that is what the excellence is. You should never get saturated. You should never get satisfied that you have understood everything. It is impossible to understand everything. See, Vidya Dadati Binyam, I see it. My Sanskrit is very bad. Vidya Dadati Binyam is a proverb that has to be seen in this light. The moment you see that I have a lot of things to learn, you have to be humble. Any student of Hindi who is in the audience, I remember a teacher, a great teacher of our campus, Banaras Hindu University campus, Hajari Prasad Dwivedi ji wrote first Kabir. And most of the people are saying that that was the first very, very critical assessment of Kabir, scholarly assessment of Kabir by Professor Hajari Prasad Dwivedi. Do you know what he writes? His opening sentence is, "Who am I to tell about Kabir?" And that is the humbleness that you make it, that imparts you Vinay. It says, no, I have to learn more. And the same is true for Richard Feynman. Those of his students, those of you who are from a physics background will remember Richard Feynman. Surely you are joking, Mr. Feynman. What does he say? That quantum mechanics is a subject that the novice and the experts have the similar kind of difficulty. That's a great statement, right? If you go to the third part of Feynman lecture series, you will find the first opening sentence on quantum mechanics like this. So be humble, never be arrogant, try to control. We have to learn a lot, and therefore be humble. Never try to dominate others. Never force anybody to give you respect. You should do so good work that the students are coming with great respect to you. Keep teaching them the best tradition. And what is the best tradition? That makes excellence as the central point. If the excellence becomes the central point, then there is an inner vitality, and it remains much after you have gone. Many people must have superannuated from Oxford and Cambridge. Many people must have superannuated from the oldest of the university, right? Can you see the list of the universities which have survived for more than 1,000 years continuously? (800, 9 years, 900, and 1,000. What is the oldest functioning university which is continuously functioning? There is no gap, right? It was never stopped functioning. I'm not asking about the oldest university. No, I'm saying the oldest university that is continuously functioning. Please see and write. Then only we'll be able to enjoy together. Otherwise, it will become a monotony. I'm asking you that try to see the list of the oldest university, surviving university, without any gap, till today. See, this program asked me that I should be able to keep asking you the question also. I don't want you to write a textbook answer to that, but you go to the mobile so that it is good for you. देखिए तो सही. Yes, Niharika. Niharika has done the great job. And how old is this? More than 1,000 years, I suppose. Niharika. Others should also react. Everything on us cannot be just lying on Niharika. We all have to say that. This is also there. I agree. This is the oldest in one form or the other. The year bhi to bataiye. How many years, Baba? Which one? Niharika. 10, 18, 18. I think, yes, more than 1,000 years. This must be correct. This is 859 AD. Remember that. Yes, I agree, Minu. So this, now I am asking the question. If there is any political student of political science in the audience or the student of history in the audience, they should tell me, let us take the 1,000 years. Was there a change in the society and the politics? That was there a socio-political change for the last 1,000 years or not? You have no option but to say yes. For that, you don't have to be a great political scientist or political theorist. Political theorist is too hard a word. You don't have to be a student of political science. You don't require BA political honors degree to react on this. And if it has survived, despite the socio-political changes, then I come back to my central question. And what is the central question? Central question is that if higher education system, because of the excellence, because of its ability to investigate the truth of a problem and profess that truth without fear, gives inner strength to the institution of higher learning. And if it has given inner strength to the institution of higher learning, that means even the socio-political changes cannot affect it. Now there is a counter example. Then after that, we will break for tea. What is the counter example? You come back to Hitler. Right? Hitler has demolished. Right? For a decade, the entire education system was demolished. But it has come back again. Now Germany still has the very good institution of higher learning. So you can ask me a question. This is also a socio-political change. Yes, it is a socio-political change, but it is fascism And for that fascism, I will be reading one text from a professor of Harvard, Professor Ulich. And I request you that during the break, you try to see it and reflect on it so that we can make a question. I am trying to tell you that why, after all, Radhakrishnan and the D.S. Kothari Commission and the Tarachand all have said that you should be able to pursue truth without fear and favor. And why, after all, we should be always be careful about democratic polity, constitutional morality, and all such things are very important. Now, I'm quoting Ulich from Harvard University, which is the preface by Robert Ulich in the book that I have referred to, The Idea of the University. He says, only the relevant portion I'm quoting, which will help me to move forward in discussing the meaning of a good university. It says, within quote, but here one cannot suppress a sad reflection, right? The Hitler regime was a sad reflection with all these high ideals. And what are the ideals? That you should be able to tell the truth. Then university professor must have told Hitler that what you are doing is not at all correct for the society. But we could not do it. The professor could not do it. How could it happen that despite the courageous resistance of some professors, including Karl Jesper, whose reference I have given you, right, of the universities of so many European countries collapsed shamefully under the attack of dictator? He answers that, and I request you to remember that and never permit any outside agency to interfere in your business. What I teach, how I teach, okay, has to be driven by the spirit of my discipline, my area of specialization. No power, however mighty he or she may be, can dictate us. It says one reason, of course, is the cruelty and thoroughness of strategy by which totalitarian governments pursue their destructive aims against human freedom. If somebody is trying to snatch away your freedom, be careful. That means in case somebody is trying to curtail your academic freedom, you simply say that no, we are moving in a wrong path. You have to be very, very polite, but you have to say that we are moving in a wrong path. University have no guns. My question is, universities should not have any guns. Their guns are the ideas. We should survive on the ideas. Let them kill. How does it matter? For that, excellence, the concept of excellence cannot be compromised. It says, university have no guns and armies, and whether lawfully or not, they can be closed and silenced. Another reason, however, is that with few exceptions, European university professors care too little about interaction between academic life and its social and the political environment. And after that, the academics started thinking about that we should actively participate in what is happening in our society. And hence the justification of education and the society. थोड़ा ठीक हुआ कि नहीं? जरा सा आप लोग बताइए, तब हम अगला सेशन 5 मिनट के बाद हम फिर शुरू करेंगे. ये ठीक हुआ कि नहीं? Was I logical or it was making too much of noise? Was there something of substance? अरे बाबा, मेरे क्लास में बच्चे तो बोलते हैं, हमारे कुलीग बोल ही नहीं रहे हैं। बहुत खराब बोल दिया क्या हम? प्लीज रिएक्ट यार।
No, sir. No, sir. It is logical, sir.
Thank you very much. So great. So shall we break for 10 minutes? In between, I will take some water and tea, and you should also take. So this is 17:12, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
क्या हुआ? So by 17:24, no, 17:25, we'll get back. Is that agreeable?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Just after 10 minutes, once you people are here, I will first give you a message. Shall we start? Once you start saying, yes, sir, I will go ahead. Thank you. Go and have a tea break. हाँ संजय बोलिए. Sanjay, you have raised your hand. Was it by mistake? Sanjay. Friends, let us try to begin our discussion, right?
Yes, sir.
So I have come prepared to read some of the passage of Karl Jasper. So he says, and I'm quoting, what is a university? Then he answers that university is a community of scholars and students engaged in the task of seeking truth. And this is what I had been saying you. It is a body which administers its own affairs, regardless of whether it derives its means from endowments, ancient property rights, or the state, or whether its original public sanction comes from papal bulls, imperial charters, or acts of provinces or states. It says that it is a body which administers its own affairs, regardless of who is funding. And then you will be asked to say that, look, we are paying you, the private party will say, private entrepreneur will say, the government will say, Are Baba, then forget about excellence. In case you want to interfere in our business, that means simply because you have paid us, you have established a university. Malaviya ji never told us that teachers and the taught should be doing what I am saying. He has given a framework, he has given a beautiful campus, and finally left teachers and the students on their own. If this is the tradition, and this is what Jasper is trying to say, that even if the church has funded an institution, they have no business. They have no business to interfere into the business of the day-to-day functioning of the university. Is that clear argument? नहीं तो वही हो जाएगा जो Rabindranath Tagore has said, that a foreign interference, that is the adult has come by giving a very, very costly toy to his son, and finally the activities collapsed. So when the fund, the person who has given you the fund, they start coming and influencing you, then the seekers of truth will have deep trouble. How are you going to then teach the truth? Truth has its own basis to survive. It doesn't require anybody's sanction at all. This should be the spirit of higher education system. And in case it is so, then the society as a whole also becomes very nice. That means society becomes tolerant. They accept each other's ideas. and the plurality is intact, diversity is intact, and they start celebrating the diversity together. And this is what Jasper is trying to say, which quote I have given you. Right? I must tell you that Jasper is trying to tell us the many of the triads, that means any three things is known as triad. And three things he talks, and every one of them has got three elements. Is that argument? So I have to give you and the brief you technically about the 9 elements of a good university. Is that question clear to you? I have posed a question that I want to understand what is definition of a good university. Ideally. Right? And if the ideal situation is there, then only we can think of that, okay, we have to make a university system of this kind, a higher education system of this kind, an institution of higher learning of this kind, so that the society is better served. Education is not only for today, my dear friend, it is for tomorrow. The government today is different, yesterday was different, day after tomorrow also will be different. And this is what I was trying to tell you. How come that the 1,000 years continuously the university system has survived? You people have given me the example that see that this university has survived 1088, so more than 1,000 years old. If it can survive, so it must be independent. It has its own strength. There is an inner strength, and that inner strength can be identified without any difficulty that it is for that inner strength is related to excellence, not specialization, not skill only. It's not only skill, it's not only specialization. And I shall try to dwell on it further after presenting the triads, okay? And the three triads are, we will try to do it. Now it will be little bit technical. And this is what is very important, that we should also learn in such thing, some technical thing also. So the first triad, okay, I think, am I able to spell out properly or not? What I mean, three triads. And that is indicated by me as 1, 2, and 3. So you have 3 elements. So there are three triads, and each of them has 3 components. So I must be able to tell you, triad number 1 has 3 components, triad number 2 has 3 components, and the triad number 3 also has the 3 components. And once I come to triad number 3, I will answer the question, meaning of excellence and the meaning of a good academic institution. Now you come back. The first triad refers to purpose and method. Right? Any university must serve 3 purposes. These are basic ones. You can add as many number of attributes as possible today, after looking at the development. The first one is that it must have an academic teaching program. ये तो हम लोग जानते हैं, बीए को पढ़ाएं, एमए को पढ़ाएं, बीएससी को पढ़ाएं, एमएससी को पढ़ाएं, बीटेक को पढ़ाएं, एमटेक को पढ़ाएं. It should be conducting, second element. scientific and scholarly research. It says that some element of research has to be there. Even if you are reading, for example, poetry by Kabir, you try to read it differently through new insight. And this is what is research is all about. And that scholarly research should be on man and nature both, and their interaction, both separately and together. This is my emphasis. If you read the original text, this is not there. So, the nature and the man, very important now. Right? As the temperature is trying to increase, everybody is saying that something is going wrong with us. And the third element is creative cultural life. Every educational institution must have a creative cultural life. But we want to kill it. I take example from the school itself. Then you come back to the higher education system. In a school, in private schools in particular, they decorate their lawns very nicely. And the children are seldom allowed to enjoy that. Fear that the lawns will be spoiled. Then why did you create that? That means the expansion of knowledge, you are fearful. You fear so much of your own children, for which that school has been created. We are afraid of the students' participation. Why, Baba? The students are bad, right? If the students are bad, the university system is also bad. The college is also bad. It requires a cure of first kind. So creative cultural life, how can you have a creative cultural life? That's the next question. Through new insight into the problem. Those of us who had been teaching for 40 years, I can assure you, in some of the area of my specialization, I thought that I have understood it. But my students have asked questions that I had to teach them differently. Because there was a flaw in my teaching, which could not clarify the questioning ability of my students. So I have to change it, obviously. I have to construct another example. So, creative cultural life requires that you should be conducting scientific investigation and scholarly research if possible. But the scientific investigation is always possible. That means you take a text and finally you try to analyze it critically. And when you start analyzing them critically, students will enjoy. In case you are just reading the text in a mechanical way, with the help of some notes, I think the people are going to be very, very upset with you. They will not say, okay, Guruji will give me the notes and finally I'll be able to answer them in the examination. So, creative cultural life must include co-curricular and extracurricular activities. But my dear friends, these days, schools and universities, they don't have even ground. Where the children are going for co-curricular and extracurricular activities, there is no place. Even because of the enhanced strength of these students, proper classrooms are not there. In those disciplines where practical component is there, students don't have the instrument to learn. So we are under a very, very difficult circumstances. It is challenging our ability to scientific investigation and scholarship, as well as it is also threatening our very existence as an academic institution. Now, let us try to come back to TRIDE 2. 3 एलिमेंट आपको बताया ना वहां पे. Academic teaching program I have told you, scientific and scholarly research, and the creative cultural life. It makes any place of learning as a very, very vibrant place, wherever possible. Right? You give children the ability to expansion of their mind by looking at nature, by looking at society. These are some of the attributes that needs to be there. And in case that any society, any academic institution that simply talks of competition will kill excellence. See, already we have frightened our students so much of the examination system that they really are in deep trouble. They are sacrificing their youth. And you want them to become the great citizen. How can they become the great citizen? By passing through the portals of this academic institution. Now I come back to TRIDE 2. This refers to elements of science and scholarship. And this is the strength, right? You cannot be saying that in literature there is no science and scholarship. No, Baba, that is not the point. All scientific investigations are possible. All objective analysis within the given method in that discipline, it is possible to make objective assessment. Whether what you are teaching and what you are writing, what you are trying to communicate to your students has got a scientific basis or not. It is when I am saying science and scholarship, I don't mean only sciences are included there. No. I'm not saying that. Okay? So, what is meaning of the science, science and scholarship? All science and scholarship must have the following 3 prescription. It is a well investigated and well thought by Carl Jesper, and I'm not a researcher in this area, so I'm mostly trying to rely on him. There are other books also, but I found that this is far more comprehensive in view of the categorization. And that all elements of science and scholarship must be methodical, cogent, and universal appeal. When you are teaching something, keep in mind that in case this learning can be utilized for other problem by the students or not. This no book will tell you. This you have to construct in the class. Example has to be constructed in the class to make it more and more lucid. And what is meaning of the universal appeal? By universal appeal means that what you see in science and what you see in social science, is there a connect? If something is really connected or not? The changes that the technology is trying to make, does it make the social relationship also change? If you think of it, you will find that really the technological advancement does influence this. And therefore, the logical growth of technology and the logical changes that you see in society, there has to be a critical assessment of the two. And this is very, very important when I'm talking to you, my dear friend. In view of the fact that most of you are going to tell me that the students, they don't want to read. Yes, they don't want to read, but that's the challenge. And we are supposed to be taking that challenge as an opportunity and struggle hard to convince them that in case you want to grow from within, it is imperative on your part that you read good books. You try to logically think. You apply your common sense, right? Common sense has no substitute. So Kant's statement that dare to understand always have to make aware of them. And if possible, sometime you should also narrate that age is not a problem, because Nachiketa kept asking the question again and again, Atma kya hai, Atma kya hai. Similarly, a student who is determined to understand something, he should keep asking the question without thinking whether he will get the answer from the teacher or not. If he doesn't get, here is a problem where he can make the investigation. Right? So such kind of appreciation must be given to our students. That look, I do not know the answer to this question, but your question may be a valid question. Right? If in science in particular, we can simply say that this question cannot be asked. But in social science and literature, every question is a valid question. Okay? There will be, there are 1,000 kinds of viewpoints, but in science, because axioms are very important for us, so we do not try to compromise on that. For example, in the Newtonian domain of mechanics, I cannot enforce the laws of quantum mechanics. And in the domain of the quantum particles, I cannot bring in Newtonian mechanics. But this is not the case for straightforward in the social science, which I have realized after some time, lot of struggle for the last 1 decade. Previously, I was thinking that they are idiots, but no, they are trying to understand society. They are trying to understand us, understand man. Okay. And this is what Jasper writes somewhere, that when you keep thinking about science and scholarship, a time comes where the scholar or the investigator goes into a domain where he starts thinking, who is he? And this is a logical question, Baba. If the dare to understand is a natural question that human being has been asking for centuries together, that's why the growth has taken place. Otherwise, we would have been static. It's not static. That means we have been asking questions that dare to understand. That means you are trying to understand this, and in that process, you have innovated, you have invented, you have discovered, and finally, the civilization has progressed. Now I come back to my most crucial part of it, and there I request that you should be asking question in the chat box once I am done. Right? Now I come back to the triad 3. 1 and 2 I have already told you. Now I come to the method of instruction. Not I, means I'm quoting Jasper. He says that this triad has got 3 basic forms of education. This is about how are you going to communicate with your students. Please see it, because we all are teachers and we have to learn it. To know at what level we are trying to communicate with our students. Triad 3 relates to 3 basic forms of education. The first one is scholastic instruction. And what is this scholastic instruction? It is the kind of thing that I am doing just now. Since I have read Carl Jasper, I am bombarding with his idea. So, in case, in my place, some artificially intelligent machine can be kept with all these knowledge source, then maybe the art of presentation could be mechanical. If a human being is trying to present, little bit of lively presentation will be there. And impromptu, a human being can simply take a decision and finally construct an example that machine will not be able to do. Otherwise, they will be more faithfully reproducing every statement of Karl Jasper, better than me. So in scholastic tradition, man can be replaced by machine. ये ठीक हुआ तब हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. See, if it is well known, suppose that in dictionary, take the example of dictionary. In dictionary, suppose that we are not from English speaking, and in our own language, I want to understand what does it mean, any English sentence. Then you will be going for the meaning in your own language to comprehend it better. So you consult a dictionary. Similarly, a student at the school level, in scholastic tradition, or college level, in scholastic tradition, or in university system, right? For example, a student comes to first year, first they have to be made aware of what is meaning of that subject. That time you require a knowledgeable person. This is the first step of education. That means you require a knowledgeable person. And for word meaning, dictionary is the best knowledgeable person. And that dictionary can be an artificially intelligent man also. And the moment you tell a word, it will give you the translation of that in your own language of your choice. So anything that we are doing in scholastic tradition can be replaced by AI, artificially intelligent machine. So we have to give some answer to the question, what cannot be replaced by machine? Okay? And that is where the excitement is all about. I enjoy it when I come to this part of the story. Whenever I am speaking to my audience, it gives me a lot of thrills. And once you understand it, the thrill is more, the excitement is more, and you appreciate the excellence in the best possible way. Now, the second tradition, the second form of education relates to apprenticeship. So if the student is coming, he has to be taught how to use a machine, how to use a tool, right? How to write a letter. But I'm told that these days this thing is not being taught in this school. I think we should be doing it. These are the kind of apprenticeship. That means there is a well-qualified gentleman who understands this skill set very well. Last time it was not the skill set. In apprenticeship, it is always a skill set. And the person with the best skill set will be remembered by students. So you keep growing your skill set. This is true. But each skill set is all about higher education. Or education for that matter. The answer to this question, we have to give it. So it says, a competent person, well adept in skill, imparts apprenticeship, he or she guides a master, he or she guides as a master of a skill set. I have more skill, a student comes and I demonstrate this skill, he is thrilled. The aspect is needed, but this aspect is needed, but the idea of the excellence requires something more. See, in the tradition of passing on instruction to your students, I have covered two so far. One of them is the scholastic, another is apprenticeship. Now the third one, which is the most crucial, that makes an institution as a center of excellence, and that pertains to Socratic tradition. And this is what is the important point. We'll be committing a Himalayan blunder. Let me repeat it. We'll be committing a Himalayan blunder if we are trying to say that we shall stop at apprenticeship. Then you will not be remembered. The university will not be remembered. The university will not grow. The expansion of knowledge will not be there. Now you come to the third, that is known as the Socratic tradition. In the Socratic tradition, what happens is the teacher and the taught both are equally novice or expert. Is that argument clear? The argument must be clear that I have chosen a problem which the senior scholar is telling to his students, that is the PhD students in the popular sense of the term, that look, this is a problem that has not been investigated so far. If the problem has not been investigated so far, then how can the scholar, the senior scholar, will be passing on instruction to his students in the scholastic tradition? Yes, समझ जाएंगे तो हमको बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. भाई, how are you going to tell? You claim that based on my learning of literature, there is nothing. No knowledge base is available around this problem that you want your student to investigate. However, the senior scholar is biased by his experiences. For example, a man of my kind of experience, 30, 40 years of experience, if an investigator, a junior investigator comes and tells me that, look, this is what I have got, and it goes against my experience, I'll simply say, get out. Never tell your student, get out. Try to see his points. It's boring, but it is important. This is part of our duty. Baba, you have framed a problem and you have given to your students by saying that this has not been investigated. Then how can you know the answer to that question well in advance? So why are you asking your student, if he has thought differently, that you get out? It goes against the spirit of inquiry. By spirit of inquiry simply tells you, since I do not know the question, I do not know the answer of this problem, why don't you investigate? This was your first point. Now the scholar is trying to investigate it, and he comes with an idea which is counterintuitive for you. Then for that you cannot be asking your student that, no, I don't care for you. Baba, you have to care because you have confessed that this is a new problem. If this is a new problem, how can you know the answer? And this is the most important part of the Socratic tradition. Neither the student knows the answer nor the teacher. So both of them are struggling together at the same level of ignorance. ये ठीक हुआ कि नहीं? Both of them, the teacher and the taught, are ignorant because none of them know the answer. If the two fellows are not knowing the answer, they will be in the unknown domain. If they are in unknown domain, but the scholar has given more time, your PhD student, he will say, no, I have read it again and again. I have investigated it again and again. I feel the logical conclusion is like this. And you'll be saying, you know, young man or young lady, you may not be correct. So you also think, the student also thinks. So following morning, the student comes and tells you, hello, good morning, sir. I think you also had a point. See, the student is telling to his teacher that you also have a point. Then teacher is saying that, no, maybe I have thought it wrongly. You have a point. Just you try to celebrate this and enjoy it to the fullest of extent. So what is happening? The student changes his mind third day. He says, no, sir, whatever I have told you was not properly interpreted. So I do not care for my proposition. I have to devote more time. Right? The teacher says, okay, if you have thought like this, let us devote more time. If there is a convergence, then the both of them will write a common paper, otherwise not. Quite possible, in some of the areas, the students and the teachers may be thinking in different direction. Then they should not be the co-author. The student should write a different paper, the teacher should write a different paper. There is nothing wrong in it. Okay, because my understanding is different and I am unable to convince the student, and rightly so. Because I know I am not in the scholastic tradition anymore. I am in this Socratic tradition. Neither I know the answer, neither he knows the answer. So let us independently grow. When you grow independently, then what is going to happen? You both have mutual respect for each other's opinion. And if there is a mutual respect for each other's opinion, the learning is going to last forever. The student will stand on his own feet throughout his life because he has argued against established scholar. He has argued and finally either won over or got defeated by his idea, but he has argued. So the argument is the most important part of the education system, which must be promoted, my dear friend. So what is this? It says, yes. So you are trying to straddle between the known and the unknown domains. See, what was the story? How did I construct? The student comes with an idea, the teacher said this is all nonsense. Following morning, the student says that maybe, sir, you also have a good idea. And after third day, the student says that no, I'm not convinced with my idea that I gave you. And this is the reason why good work always takes a lot of time. Rome cannot be built in a day, right? It has to be built in a gradual fashion so that the soundness of that building, the soundness of the foundation remains intact. And this is what is the spirit of the Socratic tradition. And once you cross this scholastic tradition, once you cross the apprenticeship, then only you can come to this level. So this is not to say that you will not be consulting dictionary. No, I'm not saying that. You consult, but that is not the vitality of the education system. But the vitality of this education system is not the skill. But does it mean that the skill is not required? No. The skill is required. But finally, excellence requires that you should be just making an excursion between the known and the unknown domain. And in case you are able to do that, that means the student will always remember you. So one of the questions that I have raised, that neither the teacher knows the answer nor the student, then where does this respect come from? See, in the scholastic tradition, the respect comes because the student feels that, oh, here is a teacher who knows everything. You shoot a question, he gives you the answer. Here is in the apprenticeship, here is a man with a great skill set. You say how to do it, he does it. In Socratic tradition, the crisis is not that, how to do it. The crisis is how to interpret it. So once you start promoting your student to interpret, that means you are trying to do the great job. And in Socratic tradition, the students and the teachers are at the same level in Socratic tradition. And that is how it should be. For new knowledge to grow in a given discipline, in a given area of specialization, it is important that you keep making excursion between the known to unknown domain. Otherwise, things are not going to be easy for the higher education system. In case you have understood it, I shall be grateful to you for this. And it is this, that the student is able to stand on his feet not only today, tomorrow also. Because what is his fundamental asset? He has been given the training. He has been given the training that he can address an unknown problem. If this unknown problem is known to, if he has acquired necessary pathways to be fearless, and finally telling people how to address a unknown problem, that means you are on the right path of excellence. And these are some of the issues that we must be addressing in higher education system. If you address it, society will have respect. Because they will say that the graduate produced by this university can stand on his own feet. And he is fearless. He can argue. He can understand. If he can understand his problem, he can understand problems of nature as well, given the opportunity. So whatever I've told you is about the discipline-driven activities. All university system must emphasize on discipline-driven activities. If you permit more funding to the university system, then the goal-oriented things will start interfering. And if the goal-oriented comes into picture, then there is no open-ended knowledge domain, where the teacher and the taught are at the same level. They go from this side, they go to that side. Then the romance of excellence is not there. And if the romance of learning is not there, वो चस्का एक शब्द हमने बताया था ना, जसपाल का है. In case there is no interest in learning new things, then a time comes that it becomes boring. And once it becomes boring, it's a very, very dangerous way. After that, the society will, or the education system will get degenerated one by one. I think I will react once you start asking question. Whatever I had to say I have said the theoretical, and mostly it is the Carl Jasper. If you look at that book, the only thing is that the example that I have constructed, Rabindranath Tagore, Ruskin Bond, and all, you must be knowing that Jaspal has said, particularly for the school education, it is important. For all education, it is important. It says that it's a learning without burden. This is true. Eric Majur from MIT, no, Harvard, sorry. Eric Majur, a professor of physics from applied physics of Harvard University, said that competition is the killer of excellence. You try to see around until the place grows. Even if the individual is very good, place is not known. Individual will be known. But do you want the individual to be known or the place to be known? Do you want the society to excel or the only couple of individuals? Then a time comes that the society get corroded intellectually. These are some of the questions that you should try to think of being part of a higher education system. I have very poor exposure to school education system. So I'm sorry. In case you want to ask me anything related to higher education system, particularly for teaching and research, I should be able to react. I think enough one-sided story. In between, I have constructed some example. Now we will have mutual discussion. So you can start shooting the question either in the chat box or you, no video please, only you can switch on your, unmute yourself and tell me, but the best will be to see it in the chat box. अब आपको क्वेश्चन पूछना है. सबसे पहले, whatever I've said, how much was the clarity? Because I should evaluate myself also. No? That is also true. पूछिए, पूछेंगे नहीं तो कैसे हमको मजा आएगा? मैं इतना एक्साइटमेंट के साथ में आपको पढ़ा रहा था भाई.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I want to ask you some different question. So, in NEP, the new education policy, if anybody is PhD in science, is he or she is eligible for principal or like that higher level post in a technological college? What is the policy of NEP?
Policy of NEP is very open. They said we should promote interdisciplinary research. So I suspect that that should be possible. Not 100% entry of the graduates from different discipline, but a part of it must be from the different discipline. That should be the spirit.
So earlier, sir, somebody in MSc in some other subject like biology, chemistry, or like those things, are they eligible for PhD in technology and in computer science or some other field?
According to NEP, yes.
But practically, it will be somewhat impossible because now what we are looking for that in this our college they have started new courses, and if somebody has not mathematics or computer science, they have to do some bridge course. So in PhD there is no bridge course like up there, means there is no bridge course.
No, see, Malik, you can introduce a bridge course. What is there? So some 20 credit, 30 credit. One semester bridge course is fine. But you require resources, I agree. And that resource point of view is a very, very crucial issue, where the implementation part of the document doesn't spell out that what fraction of the GDP we are trying to propose in days to come for the higher education system or the school education system or the primary education system. Until that becomes clear, that all the wonderful announcement may not fructify.
Yes, sir. Because in our college, we have seen that in curriculum they have introduced yoga, they have introduced photography, means offbeat type of things you can teach. But in a technical college, these persons are not available, and even if you search for them, they are charging so high that it is almost getting impossible to make them employed in our college. How the government will tackle with this, or the college will tackle with this, that is the biggest problem we are facing.
I think some project mode should be there, where the some investigators should write that this is the kind of courses that you want to learn as per the float, as per the spirit of the NEP, and finally it requires this much of money. Kindly assist us. It takes 1 year. For example, if next year you are trying to introduce courses for the first year student on music, on yoga and all, because you require a teacher, qualified teacher, and never permit unqualified people to teach your students. That's a Himalayan blunder. Okay, and in case you are a principal, you will be in deep trouble. Never permit. If the management, if you are from a public institution, then you approach the government. If you are private, you simply say that, look, sir, your chairman of the college, that look, this is very dangerous. It will not only spoil my name, your name too, if something goes wrong. So we need qualified people.
Also, another thing you told us that we should involve our students, but recently, as you are talking about the artificial intelligence, students are more habituated with solving their assignments with ChatGPT, and all those resources they are using, they are not gaining the knowledge, only they are downloading and just copy pasting from the internet. And whenever you give some assignment, they are trying to search it for in the internet. And now, according to the government policy, they have introduced some research level documentation of paper publication in the 4th year. So how can you expect a student to publish a paper when they are not able to do their assignment? Even if you give them an assignment, there is 15 or 20
let me react to that. I have given you the example, what the AI can do, what AI cannot do. Is that correct or not? I have make a transition from scholastic to apprenticeship to Socratic. So you have to understand this. And once you are in the Socratic tradition, no AI can ever help you. I am also a teacher.
So what do you suggest? What type of questions we should ask that they will not find an answer in AI?
Yeah, they will not find any. If you make a standard textbook, if you refer to a standard textbook, give them the page number. For example, if I am referring to Kelly and Grove's crystallographic defect, I will say that I have referred to this book on page number such and such. It is saying this. How are you going to react? And mostly the length of the question paper should be not less than 1 page. One question should be 1 page. Let them understand that where is the question in that question. Am I clear?
Yes,
I wish I had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I had my question. Many people have taken it in the physical interaction. That I have, because many people cannot appreciate it. That if you want to know the question, and for that you have to read the question, then it will be difficult for AI to react. I am 200% sure of my statement, because during the whole Corona call, when it was open book system, none of them could score A star. None of them. It's a record. Normally in 2-3 years, one person will get A star. So question making is a serious challenge to counter that. And there you must go to the Socratic tradition. And what is the Socratic tradition? You should also find difficulty in answering, in finding out the question. So what you can do is that the whole paragraph of a chapter, you remember that in old days, in my high school days, there used to be a comprehension, right? You give them 2 pages and let them find out where is the question. They will be in deep trouble. Yes. No, somebody
The
else
problem
also
is
did.
that if anyone is getting the answer, they are just circulating it with the other students. And the same answer is getting
I'm
copied.
saying that because that boy has got it wrong question to answer, the other will also give the wrong question to answer. Because the finding out the question in the question is a question. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, this is Alok from BHU only. I have a question regarding managing academic responsibility. Many students usually come and they usually tell us that is they usually struggle to balance between their studying for exams, classroom teaching, and also for competitive examination. So how we will guide them to outcome of these things, how they can manage all the academic responsibility and manage this thing.
This is a real problem of our society because of unemployment. And there is no passion for knowledge. There is nothing like excellence. And so we will degenerate. If we cannot take academic things seriously, then we'll degenerate. Competition kills excellence. And the onslaught of competition on us is views that can be related to criminalization of many things. Intellectual criminalization, physical criminalization, and everything. If you are reading a good book, then only you could be a nice human being.
No, sir, likewise, I am from geology background, and usually they ask about the NET examination. In NET examination, the course is Earth, Atmospheric and Planetary Science. So in that course, actually they have to read climatology, oceanography, as well as geology, geophysics and everything. So for that preparation, they need some extra time. Likewise, after COVID, we are facing, there are very limited time for a student for preparing the competitive examination and other things. So how they can outcome of this, how they can plan all the subject including their exams and classroom teaching, how they can manage this?
Yes, so the syllabus that is drafted in those competitive exams are the people like us.
Yes.
This you will agree, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, some of the best teacher must be involved there, and they should realize the difficulty of our students. And if we are not realizing the difficulty of our students, that means you are not a good teacher. However great I am, but if I cannot realize the difficulty of my students, then I am unfit to teach, because I believe that the classroom teaching is for the last boy in the class. By the same token, it should be the average of the syllabus in geosciences of this